I know this is, if you'll pardon some janky eye and head movements in general, and also that my lip sync is not necessarily synced to what I'm saying, is because I'm trying a new scene in Waterdough, and it's not exactly reliable. So my lips might not move as much as they're supposed to, but considering all that has happened this week, I just wanted to record a video. So let's start with April was certainly interesting. This is the first day of May that I'm recording this. I might upload it a little later. If you've been in the VTuber community, you'll know the first sign of things going downhill was the announcement of Gargara's graduation, and it only went downhill from there. I'm sure you've also heard of the Cinder situation on the last week of April. And then before that, there was about years before that, the Yakirisu situation. I'm sure you're wondering what both events have in common, right? It's simple. Betrayal. Cinder and Yakirisu put on fronts that just made them seem so approachable and friendly, only to be plotting their peers' downfall in the shadows just so they could be number one. Eventually, their true feelings and intentions came to light, the damage was done, and it ended with the culprits getting what they desired and the victims who put so much trust in them being deeply hurt. Eventually, Cinder and Yakirisu heard enough people that their victims had enough, and they started coming forward. And I know that sometimes justice is served in people like that, but what about those that are good at covering their tracks, that do the same things that these people did, but they aren't big enough to fall from grace, that only betray you because deep down they dislike you, not to try to get on top, not to try to get or stay on top? Or maybe they're just using you, or who knows? I'm no psychiatrist, I'm no mind reader, I can't get inside the minds of people, but I'm sure almost everyone has been betrayed at some point in their lives. Or maybe you have been the betrayer, and I'll get to that later. But for those on the receiving end, I'm sure you've wondered one question. Why? Pardon that janky movement. Why they do it? Why did they act one way to your face and then reveal their true colors? What was the last straw? Did they ever really care about you? Honestly, as someone who's been betrayed several times in her lifetime, even by someone I really thought I would marry one day, I've wondered all that myself. The worst part is knowing that most of the time, I will never really know why. I will never get closure. I only got closure once, when a longtime friend who one day blocked me, and I wonder if they're watching this, later DM'd me on a throwaway account on DeviantArt, explaining that at that time she was in a very dark mental state, attempted to, self-delete, and last time I read that message, she was in rehab or something equivalent. I don't know what became of her after that, but all I know is that she apologized in a very valid way, unlike people like Cinder. She acknowledged that she hurt me. She acknowledged that what she did was wrong. She gave an explanation, but acknowledged it wasn't an excuse. She assured me she never hated me, which is good. And she told me, most of all, at the very end, to not blame myself. Wherever she is, and even if she's watching this video, I hope she's doing better. And I hope, if God wills it, maybe we can reconnect someday. But for about 99% of the other people that have one day just cut ties with me inexplicably, often because I annoyed them or something, I never got an explanation. Or I did get an explanation. I say that with air quotes because it was really more of an excuse just to get rid of me. They would accuse me of being rude, abusive, gaslighting them, toxic, guilt tripping them, valuing others over them, not taking accountability, all that stuff. And it really hurt because those are things I would never do. Sometimes I'll just even be told to just take a hint. And I was also even banned from a former friend's Twitch channel suddenly for literally no reason. I hadn't interacted with them in a while, but from what I remember, my last interaction with them before the ban was positive. They had since nuked their accounts on Twitch. And apparently they were not such a great person to begin with, but I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD. I think I might also have autism, and I've struggled with social cues a lot of my life, and at times even societal norms. And in the past, I've also had very poor ways of dealing with intense stress. And when I will get treated like that, it just hurts even more. When they give no explanation or they give excuses and just blame the victim. And often after those things happen, it can happen with someone I've known for a few months, years, or even decades. I often wonder, am I really a bad person? Am I irredeemable? I don't want everyone to leave me. I've always tried my best to be kind and friendly and approachable, and we as people need bonds, need relationships to get by in this world. We need a support network. We can't be alone. And with the way those people treat me, it makes me feel like I deserve to be alone, like I deserve to lose everyone I love. I hate that. I know that you cannot get along with everyone, but I don't like it when I'm painted as a villain, because it messes with my self-confidence and my ability to trust others. Like, I was bullied a lot in public school growing up, and I just didn't want to be alone in this life, but trust is important. It's the foundation of a healthy, supportive relationships that can last a lifetime. And when that trust is broken, you'll never look at the person who broke your trust the same ever again. Eventually, you'll get to a point that you get bitter. You shut yourself off from the world because you're too afraid to take that risk and get hurt again. And that's no way to live, I heard Bao's reaction to Cinder. I'm probably gonna pull it up really quickly here.
Around what I would have done if I was in their shoes. I can't understand. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it. We had been through so much offline and online. And there's nothing more confusing and more painful than seeing someone in your friend group be so kind and so warm to everyone around you, and feeling that they have slowly become colder and colder towards you, and not knowing what you did or if it's your imagination. But because everyone loves them, you don't know if you want to say anything. And so you keep it to yourself, and you keep hoping it's your imagination. But then the cruel realization hits that it wasn't. And it's even more worse than you could have ever imagined.
And it just broke my heart because she, like me, just wants to be kind and friendly, and sometimes we wear our hearts on our sleeves, and we end up getting hurt in the process, and I just felt all of that. But if you shut yourself off, that's no way to live. If there's something I've learned over the years, it's that usually these people give telltale signs in their behavior and like the way they interact with you or with others. Sometimes they were like in my latest experience with someone that just cut me off and victim blamed me because I had neurodivergent habits. They would nitpick behaviors of mine that weren't inherently harmful. Like it was just unreasonable. They know who they are. But another thing they would do, these types of people would do, is they will want to control you, the way you act. They don't want you doing any kind of supposed problematic behaviors. They would prey on your worries that someone didn't like you and they want you to pitch you against them, only to prove that they were in it for themselves. That happened last year. Someone I had known for decades that I thought was a friend. Some of them would even just unfollow you on social media when you act in a way that they don't particularly like. Like this other guy I met. He seemed friendly at first, but at the time I was dealing with a dad who was sick, and I didn't have a job, and I didn't even have a therapist at the time either, and me venting a lot eventually led him to just block me again. Because apparently I'm a whiny person, and he never even said why, just cut me off. Sometimes it's also just ratting you out to someone they know you're on bad terms with and you'll never be on good terms with again, or something along those lines. Like a certain ex of mine knew that this group of former friends that he befriended hated me and would never forgive me. And he still wanted to put us in close association. He knew what he was doing. And they always act so nice at first. You believe they care. One of them, several of them, sympathized with me when my dad died. And then, years later, boom, they cut ties with me. I'm just so tired because I believe they cared. But in the end, the only people these betrayers are hurting are themselves. Like when they victim blame, when they give false concern, they're just hurting their own image. People are gonna speak out. You can't silence somebody. It will come out sooner or later. But I think it would have been much more effective and to the point for them to just say stuff like, you know what I really think of you? You're annoying. I hate you. Leave me alone. Or, I just wanted this. I never really cared about you. Like, Cinder and Yaki should have just said, I only wanted this and that. But it seems like the hardest thing nowadays is just to be honest. But in spite of all this, and I know it's hard to trust again among the hurt, but to everyone who's ever been betrayed, I want you to know, please don't close yourself off. Know that there are people that truly care for you, do have your back. I know it's hard to believe that right after the fact. But sometimes, the trash does take itself out. And if you have a support network, and you know that you didn't do anything wrong, they will always have your back. They will not see your kindness as something to take advantage of. And them being kind isn't always a mask for being manipulative or evil. It's just that it feels like it's like the vocal minority or the more minority that makes themselves more known, that it sure feels that way. Especially for neurodivergent people, especially in their adulthood, maybe even over 30, like me, who's always struggled to make friends and can't even go out nowadays, rarely. But you will know these people by their fruit, by their heart, by their honesty. They will never ask anything unreasonable of you, and they'll always have your back. You'll know that they care. Just don't hold on to the hurt, okay? It's like holding someone hostage in your mind. Don't obsess over their downfall or wanting revenge. I did, and it would often put me in it would make me spiral, and that's never fun. It'll even make you lash against the people you do love and who love you. It's like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. It's not worth it. And yeah, I'm probably gonna get my butt beaten in the comments for this, but if anyone who's watching this has been the betrayer, know that one thing: I don't hate you. Hate is not an emotion that is worth it nowadays. But I do want you to think about and evaluate your actions. Think about if you were in the position of those you hurt. People will speak up, even if you try to silence them. Eventually, the past will catch up to you, and nobody's gonna want anything to do with you. Like, I'm sure Cinder is big enough that she she could still stream. She'll still get her loyal viewers, but the collabs, no one's gonna want to collab with her. No one's gonna want to do art for her. Pretty sure she's lost some company opportunities like sponsors or endorsements or anything like that too. People are just gonna not want anything to do with you. And I'm not saying you have to speak to people you dislike again. You have your reasons for not wanting anything to do with the people you cut off. That is fine. I'm not forcing you. But just for the future, be upfront and honest when you feel like you're speaking with someone that you don't like. When you feel like you're obligated, just tell them upfront, hey, I don't think we're gonna get along. And just leave them. Just be honest. Don't lead them on. Don't breadcrumb them. Don't make them think that they have a special bond with you and then just rip it all away. I know it's a tall ask in this day and age, but I just want us to strive to be better to each other, to be more respectful, communicate whenever there's an inconvenience or there's something that bothers us. And if possible, to avoid misunderstandings that just bubble over until it explodes. Like, don't sugarcoat it, don't bury it, bottle it up, and just downplay it, and then it explodes, you know? Just tell them up front, hey, I didn't like what you did. Don't do that again. A lot of arguments, a lot of broken friendships can be avoided that way. I don't want to be hurt anymore, but I also don't want to be so bitter that I just end up hating the world and everyone in it. And I'm sure others, probably you who's watching this video, if you've been hurt in a similar way, you wouldn't want that either. I just want to believe there is still good in people, that humankind isn't a lost cause, that there are good people, in which there are, but sometimes it feels like everyone's gonna stab you in the back. And I don't know if one person alone can change that, but just I want us to communicate better. And this was just me voicing how I felt with, the week's event. Losing friends over the years, seeing people backstab each other in the name of getting on top, or just because they can't tell others how they really feel. I don't know if one voice will make a difference, but maybe our actions together could help. I guess that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening.